Welcome guys, Lorenzo here, episode 13, a beautiful marble, and we're launching some rockets as well. We're starting off with the first mission today. Here it goes, it's the Ranger 1, it's basically another probe to, well, basically just escape Earth orbit and transmit some science back. But maybe at this point you're wondering, what the hell, why is the sky white? And that's because it is a foggy day and we're launching through some clouds. Yeah, I installed the beautification mods, specifically RVE and Scatterer, and that, well, apart from a few small minor glitches that you'll, well, see at some point, I'm sure, it basically makes the game look really nice. And you know, if there's a cloud that pops in front of the camera, it's not as nice. Basically, there's a big glare going on, but overall, look at that, we're clearing the clouds and the sun is shining on them from the top, and the continent emerges from behind. We see the nice scattering effect the sun does through the atmosphere and on the ocean, and overall, these mods do a really great job of well, showcasing the beauty that is space travel. Anyway, this Ranger mission is performing pretty well. We've launched dozens of this first stage, so by all rights, it should perform well. Apologies about that. There's not a loud rocket, it's me coughing in your ears. But, you know, we've gazed at the clouds. Let's fast forward a little bit into this mission. Because I think, if I recall correctly, I flew this last week, that this was a pretty decent one. Yeah, no failures so far. The first stage is burning nicely above the, well, almost above the atmosphere. And we're going to take just a few moments to appreciate, well, the same things as before. The beauty of the planet Earth and the splendor of these mods. Oh yeah, look at that, a lens flare for the sun and a new skybox showcasing some stars. Actual stars and constellations. There we go, no problem so far. We have now the upper stage burning into the dusky side of the planet. Reason for that is non-existent, because we basically want to escape the Earth. And that's also the reason why we don't have a maneuver node. Currently activating the directional antennae, targeting it at Earth, and that should allow us to keep in contact while it escapes its sphere of influence. Quite a few minutes of engine burning remaining, and well, that goes fine without the engine shutting off or anything. We're now looking at the Earth as eclipsed by, well, the sun as eclipsed by Earth, but now we've moved on and we're basically free falling away into solar orbit, where we will, of course, try to transmit some science. Let's see how that goes. There is the sphere of influence change. Look at that, the antenna has the range. We are at 150 million kilometers now. And yeah, we're around the sun, and we're not around the Earth any longer. Technically, this could serve as a solar relay, but yeah, for now, we're just doing the science, and that's an objective achieved. Successful mission, that one. Let's head back to the space station. I was going to say, let's head back to the space center and see what else we can do. A new one. We researched technology, we upgraded the astronaut center, and the Icarus 1 is going to take Jebediah Kerman into orbit, and we'll have him performing spacewalks. No staring at the rocket. This time we proceed immediately to the next notable event, which is a booster failure, a side booster failure. It is. Fortunately, I react quickly, shut off the other 4 side boosters, and the trajectory deviation is minimal. Jebediah is looking shaken up, not at all, he doesn't care. I think about 100 meters per second of delta V was wasted, if that. Ditching the escape tower there. Obviously don't need it. And Jebediah is continuing on into orbit, where he will make his way outside the rocket, being the first astronaut to ever do this. Here we, whoa, that was a little bit of an unfortunate cut, but I'm not going to change it now. Jebediah is double checking his systems, trying to take off the EVA suit, because there's a button there that says just that, but fortunately there's an alarm built in that stops him doing that. And at this point, where he's clinging outside the capsule, I can just imagine how fucking scary that has to be. You're in orbit around the planet, that's a technology that's barely mastered, and then they're asking you to go out of your space car. Like, yeah, that'll be fine, probably. We built some rocket nozzles into your suit. You can maybe sort of fly around. We don't know. We haven't tried this before, but you're the first one to do it. So, yeah, now he's drifting away from his rocket. I wonder how far I would dare drift if I was in there myself. Not very far, I don't think. Not very far at all. Jebediah is the same as me. Yeah, I just said that. And he's returning to the pod as we speak. He's carrying a scribbled piece of space paper with the EVA report on it. And as he gets inside, he's going to punch that into the computer and transmit it home for some EVA science reporting. You can see the scatterer mod in effect as well. You can see a hazy band around the planet, which is the atmosphere, which is a little bit more strikingly visible than it is without this mod. Here we go, transmitting the science, not the wrong science, the right science. And I think that counts as an objective completed. There we have, objective achieved. So far today, the missions are going well. Now, of course, Jebediah has to return home. This is something we have pretty mastered by now, so I'm not going to show a whole lot of it. We're steering the capsule through the atmosphere using the descent mode and rotation to control things like sync rate and g-forces, keeping things comfortable, scorchy, but not too scorchy for Jebediah. And he indeed makes it back into the ocean. As I said, that's 2 successful missions. For the 3rd mission, we're going to return to the moon, and we're gonna try something a little bit ambitious. Wait, no, scratch that. We're gonna send a probe to Mars, and I bet you're gonna guess what the 4th mission is gonna be. We're gonna send a probe to Mars. We timed the we timed the transfer window with Kerbal Alarm Clock, and we're doing a nighttime ascent now. You can see the city lights, also part of the mod, and the red sunset. We're doing a nighttime ascent because that means that the other side of the planet is facing the sun, and we want to be launching in this direction to plot an intercept to Mars. Ascent went without problems, and we are almost in orbit, which means we can start to actually plan that. Well, I call it an ascent. Why not plan that interplanetary trajectory to Mars? It is a fair bit higher than the Earth if you use the sun as a reference, a couple million kilometers. Yeah, and if you launch at dusk, your trajectory is better. And if you, I was thinking at least, if I can do the node quickly, I won't have to wait as long, and my fuel boil off won't be so bad. Anyway, here you can see a much accelerated version of me planning this maneuver node, and no need to try and follow what's going on. The bottom line is I couldn't get one to work for the life of me. And then I figured out on the internet that Kerbal Alarm Clock actually doesn't support real solar system, and I had to get another mod for that. So we have once more an upper stage that cannot fulfill its primary mission. So instead, we tried, well, I didn't try, I did. I put it in a higher orbit so it could serve as a communications relay, a high altitude communications relay. And it gives us the opportunity to appreciate once more the Earth in all its beautificated splendor. There's clouds, there is eclipse effects, there is atmospheric scattering, and, well, we're looking the other direction now. Doesn't matter. We're pointing the dish at the active vessel. That means if we're going to fly another vessel, the dish of this satellite will point at that one, and it can be used as a relay for, well, for sending commands and controls. Anyway, here is the 4th mission coming up in just a few seconds, and that I watched the announcement before. That one is going to go to lunar space and return a payload. It's not going to return lunar material. It's going to be a satellite that re-enters the Earth. Again, the ascent went without a hitch, showing less and less of that. You can see the upper stage here has a heat shield on it because that's intended to be returned at some point. I've plotted the course to the moon. Now we have the following problem, is we are using a cryogenic engine, which means the fuel will boil off. So from here, I need to plot a free return trajectory. I do have the hydrazine thrusters on the probe. I can use that to fine-tune my return at the moon. That's the reasoning, at least. But I have to get this trajectory mostly right here because the liquid oxygen will be long gone before we reach the moon. First burn though is going to take us to a lunar intercept, and that's a few minutes away from now, but for you it should be instant. There we go. Trajectory has been established, and we have 210 meters per second left in this stage, which is not a lot, and we need 6 meters per second to correct our trajectory. So here I'm going to ditch the upper stage and continue with hydrazine power only. If you glance at the resource window, you can already see the discrepancy between the liquid oxygen and the kerosene. That's from one orbit around the Earth, waiting for the maneuver node to the moon. Anyway, there you can see it's packed full of science and is currently on its way to lunar space. Let's have a look at the trajectory. There it goes. You can see on the pink projected orbit that's still pretty far out from the Earth. That's not going to re-enter, not anywhere near. So using the hydrazine thrusters, I am now fine-tuning that, and my guess is that this would be enough. Here you can see the bottom of the probe, 3 of the biological material canisters and 1 parachute for use when the heat shield has done its part. Now I can talk a lot longer about this. I forgot to take some nice shots of the moon itself. Trust me, we're in orbit around it. Well, we're in its space, we're not in orbit around it. But unfortunately, I did miscalculate the trajectory, and the hydrazine thrusters, which are currently depleting its fuel on ×4 acceleration, were not enough to actually get the periapsis back to a Earth re-entry trajectory. So, as a stark contrast to the first 2 successful missions, we have 2 additional comsats for the next episode, where we will have lots of communication satellites and hopefully a few more missions. Technology is proceeding pretty well, so hopefully that should all be going better in the future. With that said, that's the episode for today. Thanks again for watching as always. Look at this new end screen, see how you can follow and support me if you so like. I'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye.